Businesses want predictability. Predictability enables them to focus on achieving the outcomes that they desire in a consistent way. It reduces uncertainty and helps them achieve their business goals. But predictability is hard to achieve. There are all sorts of things that kind of get in the way of us having predictability as a business. Now, the things that we can't avoid that get in the way of predictability are things like market volatility, right? The changes in the market, the unpredictable nature of the world and the ecosystem in which we're in are things we cannot control, right? So we have to include that in our story. But there are a bunch of things where we get unpredictability that we can control, that we can do something about. So having clear goals or unclear goals, right, causing unpredictability, operational inefficiencies, creating unpredictability. You don't know how long things are going to take because everything takes a different amount of time to go through the system. And really having an undefined system. If you don't have a description of how things go through each of your systems, you could have many systems in your organization, then how do we know that each thing that goes through each system is going through it in a consistent way, which enables that predictability, right? That we can optimize the way things move through it. So that will all of those unpredictabilities, those frictions to our ability to do stuff, and inconsistent frictions to our ability to do stuff will impact on the performance of our organization. It'll impact on revenue growth. It'll impact on profitability. It'll impact on our ability to be competitive in the market. So the role of Agile in this story, the role of Agile in enabling predictability, or agility in enabling predictability, is in the application of the ideas. It's a lot about changing from rules to principles. Instead of having a bunch of rules that people mindlessly follow, have a bunch of principles under which the folks that you have within your organization can make decisions. Define the systems that you have and how you want them to work, not just as leadership telling people how to do it, but the people that are doing the work define the systems. That's pushing responsibility down the organization to the people who are actually doing the work. And Agile, or the mindset of agility, the Agile philosophy, is about enabling people in our organization to improve the predictability of our business outcomes by improving the predictability of the things that they do. And I think one of the difficulties is that most organizations, most people in organizations, are not looking at predictability metrics. They're not looking at the data that indicates instabilities in the system that are the things that you want to control. You want to where it can be controlled, where you want to make changes. So this whole idea of increasing business predictability is not something that just randomly happens. It's not something that just installing agility in your organization is going to result in an increased level of business predictability. But it's something that is systematic, that is deliberate, that requires effort and consistency of application, and over a longer period of time, to start making the changes, moving the needles to increase the level of predictability within your business. There's a myth that I see all the time in organizations at every level, that because we're doing Agile, we can't plan or predict what's going to happen. We're not supposed to do estimates. We're not supposed to be looking forward too far into the future. And all of that is kind of bunkum, right? Agility, the fundamental principle of agility, is about minimizing the amount of work you do until it needs to be done. We don't want to do documentation that is going to change frequently unless we need that documentation in order to understand what we need to change. We'd be better building some product, right? Build some product, test it in the market, get into those tight feedback loops. And that's one of the key things that I find that organizations really struggle at within the context of predictability. They don't close the feedback loops. So if you're looking at what you're doing within the context of agility, this myth that you can't plan for the future is just that, a myth. The poster child for agility is Microsoft's transition in the last 10, 12 years. And they do planning looking forward over 18 months, right? The granularity is really at really high level, but they do plan over 18 months. They do a season-based model and they plan for 18-month seasons. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing anti-agile about that. But it's the way that you do it. It's how you implement it. Is that 18-month plan something that is enshrined in this is what we're going to do? How changeable and malleable is that plan over time? And how much effort do you spend on that plan versus doing the work that you need to do just now? Those are all things that belie this myth that you can't plan or predict because you're doing Agile. You absolutely can. You just use different tools and techniques to be able to achieve it. There's a really famous quote. Plans are irrelevant. Planning is everything. And that's the key to success within the context of business predictability, right? If you want to increase the predictability of your business, you need to stop creating plans and start planning. What is it we're going to do next? Where do we want to go? What do we want to achieve? If we're answering those questions and then communicating it effectively within the business, we can enable a level of strategic alignment with everybody in our organization that we become a team. If you look up team in the dictionary, it says a group of people working together towards a common goal. How can we do that if we don't have that common goal? And a goal is a single thing. It's not a whole bunch of things. So what is it that your business is trying to achieve that you want everybody and every product and every effort to align behind? For a particular product within the context of that business, what is the thing that you want everybody working together towards the outcomes of that product to align behind? What's the product's goal? What is it we're trying to achieve? The vision, the strategy, what are we trying to achieve? And these are things that are commonly missing in organizations. And that creates a fragmentation of effort, right? So the effort that people put in is in a direction of their choosing. Each individual on the teams, effort of their choosing. Each manager, effort of their choosing. Each leader, effort of their choosing. Each product owner, effort of their choosing. How do we enable us to be all working together towards that common goal? And that requires planning to get predictability. So we're not really talking about risk mitigation as a document, right? We're talking about risk mitigation as a holistic strategy for our organization. We're not talking about resource management at the individual level. We're talking about where are our investment opportunities as a business that fit inside of our strategic goals and strategy, and how much money, right, are we applying to solve that particular problem or gain that particular capability. And that will denote the number of people that are available that we can hire to go work towards that outcome. So that this whole idea of planning to gain predictability is to enable your business to have a competitive advantage in the market against other businesses in the same market. Naked agility can help you increase your business predictability by enabling you to be able to do that. So we can't come in and just provide you with increase your business predictability. We can't do that. You need to do that. It's your business. It's your organization. It's your department. It's your team. The only people that can help you increase that predictability, or that can increase that predictability, are you. We can bring our knowledge and expertise of what has worked in other organizations. We can bring ways and tools for analyzing the data. What's the current state of your system? Helping you define your system so that you can then see where the problems are that are reducing your predictability so that you can fix them, right? So one of the big things we bring is visibility so that you can see what's going on. If you can see what's going on, you can make tweaks to the way you do things. You can help the people that you work with make tweaks to the way they do things to hopefully increase that level of predictability within your business. Now that can be data driven, right? We can look at data for team morale and capability. We can look at data for knowledge and skills, but it's a data driven. We can look at profitability of the business and where we're spending the money. These are all data driven approaches. We can then help bring frameworks and methodologies, right? Ideologies, philosophies. What are things that are holistic to all businesses that can enable you to look at things in a different way, to be able to see what's going on, to make those changes. So things like perhaps Scrum is a good idea, perhaps Kanban is a good idea, perhaps lean thinking is a good idea, perhaps lean UX is a good idea. There are all sorts of tools, frameworks, ideas available that have been shown to work in many different sorts of businesses that we can try and analyze and see if it works for your business in your context. So what we're offering is a completely custom solution for your business that doesn't make you like somebody else's business. One of the things that I commonly see as a bad thing, I guess, I'm trying to think of the words, but as a negative consequence to going and working or pulling in a large consulting organization that brings a standard methodology and practice and then applies it to your business, is that you become like every other business that they've applied it to. And one of the things that made your business successful was its unique ability to take advantage of a niche that you've built in a market, right? Your business grew to take advantage of a niche. And if somebody comes along and applies their business practices or their system or their thing on top of it, then you're just like every other company that uses that same system. Like a great example is road hauling, right? If you're moving goods around, it's maybe not a good example because those businesses are fairly standard, but businesses that use the same tooling as every other business that does the same thing is just the same business, just with a different owner, right? Or a different funder. They're not different. There's no disambiguation in the market. They're just filling that market. How do they open new markets? How do they ingeniously solve problems in interesting ways that helps them adapt their business towards a new niche or new capability or open up new markets? Well, they can't because they're working within a structured system that doesn't allow them to explore other opportunities. So what we want to do as a business is come up with our own way of moving from whatever it is we're doing now towards a greater degree of agility, so that it's our business processes, it's our unique way of doing things to fill that unique niche. And if you look at every single commercial successful organization that has adopted agile practices, especially agile practices at scale, you'll see that every single one of them has created their own system that fits the way they want to do business and is shaped by the way they want to do business. They're not just installing somebody else's system. And that's why Microsoft used the season-based model. Spotify have what they do, right? Google have their way of doing things. Every single one of these organizations has a unique way that's bespoke to them of solving this problem of how do we increase our business predictability and our ability to serve the markets within which we're in. It's pretty hard to describe what does it look like, sound like, or feel like once you're on this journey and you've made some progress towards a greater degree of adaptability, of a higher degree of predictability. It's going to impact on everything in your organization. A great Microsoft is often asked, what changed, right? When you made these changes and adaptations to your business, what changed? And the answer is usually everything. Everything changed. The way they do financing changed, the way they do business changed, the way they find new customers changed, the way they manage customers changed, the way they build the products has changed, the way they engage with people who build the products, the way they engage with the people who build the products, and the outside world has changed. Every part of their business processes have changed in their entire organization. Now, that's a little bit of an overestimation. Not everything has changed. They still have it. They're still on their journey, right? They're still on their journey, and they've not addressed some things that they probably could address, but they've done a good job of tackling some of those big things. A great example you can go look up is the change in the way they measure bonuses for salespeople, right? It used to be that they were measured based on the amount of time, Azure time, that they sell, because Azure is the big selling piece, right? How much Azure do you sell? But now it's on usage, because if you measure how much time do they sell, the salesperson gets the customer to clinch the deal. They're a closer, right? That's who you want as a salesperson, is a closer. And then the customer has paid the money, the salesperson gets their bonus. But the problem with that is what happens at the end of the year when the customer hasn't used the thing they've paid for and it expires, right? They bought a year's worth of stuff. They've used 10% of it. Now they're annoyed, angry that they've had 90% of their funds have been wasted. So if you switch that around to usage, that the sales folks get their bonus based on usage, they then need different skills. They're not a deal closer, right? This is an example of a little tweak in the way a business functions that has a massive impact. The perfect salesperson is no longer a closer. They're an enabler. They enable your company to help this customer use the service more and more and more. So, for example, perhaps the closer brings in an expert to bamboozle the customer with all the cool things that you can do, and they close the deal and they're done, right? But what the enabler does is it brings in, perhaps out of their own budget, they're going to bring in and pay external consultants and helpers to help over a longer term enable that customer to use the services more. So now we're talking about what enables you to use Azure more. Agile transition, right? DevOps. All of these things mean that you need to consume things more quickly, and it benefits both parties, right? It benefits both Microsoft because they get to sell more Azure, and if it benefits the customer because then they're able to adapt to their market needs more quickly and more effectively. And that is that core. What does it look and feel like? It looks and feels like everybody working together towards a common goal, right? We're not working against our customers, we're working with our customers. We're not working against each other, we're working with each other. And that is the superpower that brings this whole story together. So it changes the behaviors of people in your organization. It changes the organizational culture. It changes the experience that both employees and stakeholders have, and it changes the way that you measure success in your business. So everything will change if you embark on this journey, but you'll have at the end of that journey, it never ends, but once you've made some progress on that journey, you will have a more predictability in your business and a higher ability to take advantage of market opportunities when they arise, because you're then able to deal with surprises because you've got that level of predictability.